my name is Celeste and this is part 1 of my one-piece crochet coaster series. This will be a pretty long series, so I decided to divide them into parts. So for this first part, I used a random wheel generator and it landed on Vivi, Usopp, and Zoro. That way I don't have to stress about which ones to pick. Please watch this intro fully so you know all the information and materials needed for this tutorial. I'll also be explaining my thought process behind all of the designs. All of these coasters have different levels of difficulty, so I'll be categorizing them as we go. For the materials you'll use for all of these coasters, I recommend a cotton or an acrylic yarn, both are fine. And for your hook size, use between a 3.5 or a 4mm hook. For me, I used an acrylic weight 4 yarn, so anything that looks like this. Weight for medium. I tend to have a looser gauge, so I used a 3.5mm hook, but if you know you have a tighter gauge, I would recommend doing a bigger hook. For additional materials, you would want a tapestry or a sewing needle to thread in all of your loose ends. Just a small disclaimer, when I first made the original crochet coasters, I used a lot of my scrap yarn, so when I redid them for the tutorials, my colors might look a little different. So just choose your colors depending on if you like the original design better or the modified design. All of them look just as cute. I think that's all that I need to say. So let's just jump right into Vivi. So for Vivi, I was inspired by coasters that gave princessy or regalness. So this is hers. This blue right here was my scrap yarn. This one in the tutorial is a lighter blue. So this version is the one that you're going to be seeing in the video. Vivi's has a lot of color changes. So if you're like intermediate beginner, then this should be pretty doable. So we have this yellow, this darker pink, lighter pink, white, and blue. So there's 5 color changes. So to start off for Vivi, I'm going to make a magic ring. Now the way that I make magic ring is pretty simple. I'm just going to take my yarn, wrap it around my fingers, then wrap it twice. So you should have 2 strands here. On the other side it should look like an X, and I'm just going to hold it like this. Then I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to grab the yarn under here, grab, twist, then take this yarn and pull it through the hoop like that. And there you go, magic ring. Now I'm going to chain 2, so 1, 2, and I'm going to make 12 double crochets into the magic ring. So yarn over, pull through the ring, so you should have 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, yarn over into the magic ring, grab it, 3 loops, so yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. I'm going to keep doing that until I have 12. Just finished my 12 double crochets and I tightened my magic circle. And normally what I would do is, so the first double crochet that we made, or if you count backwards, it should be the 12th one away from the hook. I usually slip stitch it like this and I do it tight like that. However, since we're doing a color change, I'm only going to insert my hook into the first double crochet, and with my new color, I'm going to grab it with the hook and I'm going to pull it out, and then I'm going to pull through this, and then from there I chain 1. I'm going to make 2 more chains, so I should have chain 3 in this, and into the same double crochet right here I'm going to double crochet 2 more times, so the chain counts as a double crochet here. Now I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to skip 1, and into this next double crochet right here, I'm going to double crochet 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Again, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then skip 1, and then to the next, I'm going to double crochet 3 times. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to continue doing that all the way around. So we've almost reached the end of this round. You should have 6 petals, and we're going to chain 4 again. 4. And instead of slip stitching here on top of this chain 3, we're going to make a color change with a lighter pink or any color of your choice. I'm going to insert my hook into the top of the chain 3, and then I'm going to take my new color and pull it out, and then I'm going to pull that new color out of this hoop right there. Now from here we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to make 6 half double crochets on this chain space. So to make a half double crochet, remember you yarn over, pull through, so you have 3 on your hook, and you yarn over, pull through 3. Yarn over, grab your hook, there's 3, yarn over, pull through 3. And we're going to make 6 of these. So this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6. Now from here, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to make another 6 of these half double crochets into the chain space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then chain 2 and repeat, so 6 double crochets, and we're going to keep doing that all the way to the end. When you reach the end of this row, we're going to do something a little different with this color change. So we're going to put our hook through that first chain that we made right at the end. So you can put it here. And I'm going to grab my next color that I'm changing with, so it's going to be this white color. I'm going to grab the yarn over this chain, then pull it through. Then I'm going to insert my hook into the chain space, so this small chain space right here, I'm going to insert it. I'm going to grab the white yarn, and I'm going to make a single crochet like this. Then from the single crochet, I'm going to make 2 more chains like this. So basically this represents a double crochet right here. I'm going to make 2 more of these chains. So this is going to be chain 2. So if you have a stitch marker, then I would put a stitch marker right here on the second chain from the hook. And I'm going to make 1 more double crochet into the same small chain space that we just put our right here. So we've made a V stitch. After the V stitch, I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to make another V stitch. So I'm going to double crochet into this smaller chain space right here. I'm going to chain 2 and make another double crochet into the same chain space. So as you can see, it makes a V shape. I'm going to chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to keep repeating that. So another V into the small chain space by doing double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. Keep repeating that all the way around. Reach the end, and I've made 4 chains right here, and I'm going to slip stitch and change colors on the chain space 2 that I just made. So wherever you put your chain marker, I would insert my hook inside, and then with our final color, we're gonna use a light blue. I'm gonna grab that light blue and I'm gonna pull it through the chain, then pull it through the other white to color change. And if right now it curls up like this, don't worry. You'll see how it works out later. So from here, I'm going to chain 2, and I'm gonna half double crochet 3 into this small V space, the chain space right there. Do 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to make half double crochets into this large chain space right here. The number might be different based on what yarn you're using or your gauge, but you want it to be as packed in as possible. So as you're working, you want to push your yarn back like this. And because this is our final round, it doesn't matter how many half double crochets you end up with. Okay, so for me, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 half double crochets in this one. I might add one more. Then I'm gonna put 3 half double crochets into the small V chain space. And then keep repeating what I just did. And so you just want to pack up all of your chain spaces with half double crochets. As you're working the blue yarn, you'll notice that it flattens out as you work through it, so it doesn't curl in like this. Just make sure that you're really packing in the chain spaces with as much of the half double crochets as you can. So once you're finished with this, we're actually just going to, I'm gonna cut pull through. So after I do this, I have the stray, and I'm going to take my hook, and I'm gonna skip one. I'm gonna take my hook into the second V right here, and I'm going to pull it through this V. It should look something like this. Then in this V right here where this tail is connected, I'm going to insert my hook upwards like here, and then I'm gonna pull the tail through here. So it joins the yarn while making it look very seamless and invisible. Where to go? I don't know. As you can see, we have a lot of loose ends. So we're just going to weave them in. And once you've weaved in all of your ends, this is what Vivi's coaster looks like. Next up, we have usopp. So this is the original design that I had. This was my scrap yarn of recycled polyester yarn. I actually didn't like how it kept being really thick and curling up. I didn't have different yarn that was close to this color, and the only two brown yarns that I had was either a really dark brown or a really light brown, almost like peach. I used the darker brown, and I really like it because it shows the design on the border better. For Usopp, I was inspired by his Sogeking slingshot and his smaller little slingshot right here. The basic shape is a circle, but we're gonna do a lot of surface stitching. I'm gonna show you the way that I surface stitch, but if you need extra practice, I would recommend trying to find other videos. Word of caution, for me, Usopp's took a lot more time because there was a lot of surface stitching. To start off, you're either going to use a 3.5mm or a 4mm based on your gauge. So for me, I tend to have a looser gauge, which means my stitches are bigger. So I'm actually going to do a 3.5mm, a darker brown, and this is a tan. Okay, to start off, I'm going to make a magic ring, and the way that I make a magic ring is I'm going to hold the yarn here. I'm going to bring it around my fingers in the front, then in the back, then in the front again. So there should be 2 lines here. And then I'm going to hold it here so it should form an X. Then with my hook, I'm going to go inside of this yarn. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to twist it towards me. And with the yarn that I'm holding with my pinky and my ring finger, I'm going to grab it here and I'm going to pull it through the yarn. Ta-da! This is by far the easiest way, but it's also the only way I know how to make a magic ring, so yeah. Okay, now I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then I'm going to make 12 double crochets into the magic ring. So, and if you don't know how to make a double crochet, it's that you yarn over, pull it inside of the magic ring, pull it out of the ring. So now you should have 3 on the hoop. Pull it out, pull through 2, pull through 2. Again, yarn over, inside the magic ring, pull through. So you should have 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And you keep making it until you have 12. You can count backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So then into that 12th one, you're gonna make a slip stitch, which means that you pull through and then you pull through again. And then right here, I would tighten the magic ring. So now that you have your first round, we're going to make another round. So I'm going to chain 2, and then into the same chain space that we made, like right here where we made our chains, I'm going to put 2 double crochets into this one stitch. So 1, 2, that's called an increase. And then I'm going to do increases all the way around. So then we started with 12, and after doing 2 in each, we should get 24. Okay, so I've made 24 stitches, which means that I'm gonna move on to my 3rd round. So on that first double crochet that we made, I'm going to make a slip stitch. Done. Chain 2, and then into that same stitch that we made the chain in, so that first double crochet, I'm going to make 1 double crochet, Then the next I'm going to do an increase, so 2 inside of the same one. And then 1 in the next one. Then an increase in the next. And you're going to keep repeating that. So you should have 1 increase, 1 increase. So I finished my third round, and again for this first double crochet right here, we'll make a slip stitch. So pull and pull through, chain 2. And for this next round, we're going to do something similar. We're going to do double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1, 1. And then in the next stitch, in that third stitch, we're going to do an increase. And we're going to keep repeating this pattern. So now it's 1, 1, 2. Then in the next one, 1, 1, 2. Again, it's 1 double crochet. In the next one, also 1 double crochet. Then in the third one, we have an increase. We have 2 double crochets in the same space. And keep doing this all the way around. So I reached the end of my 4th round, and this is a good size for me. For my coasters, I don't have a good cup, but as you can see, it fits. But if you want to add another round, then instead of 2 double crochets and 1 increase, you would do the round now with 3 double crochets, 1 increase. And keep repeating that. Before I slip stitch it, this is actually where I'm going to do a color change. So where I would normally start slip stitching, as in pull the yarn through and through, I'm actually not going to pull this yarn through. My hook is still going to be through this hole, but I'm going to take my green yarn and I'm going to pull it through like this. Then from here, I'm going to chain 1. And then in the back loop of my stitches, so where there's a V, I'm going to make slip stitches. And I generally try to keep these slip stitches pretty loose. So in the back loop, I'm just going to keep slip stitching across, making sure that I don't slip stitch them too tight. And as you can see, by doing slip stitches, my color change is really clean. So your coaster should look like this now. Again, you want to make sure that when you sort of lay it flat and when you press on it, it stays flat. Okay. Right here, you're going to notice that this stitch right here, this slip stitch that we did with the brown, is a little more loose. So I'm going to just take that working end and I'm just going to tighten it a bit by just pulling on it. And if you don't care too much about how the back side looks, I honestly would just tie these together. And now we're going to surface stitch little details on it. And if you don't know what surface stitching is, then that's okay, I'll teach you. But just word of caution, the back side is not going to look that pretty. So from here, I'm going to leave a really long tail for cutting. I would say pretty decently long. So I'm going to pull through. And then with this tail, okay. So I'm going to take my needle, I'm going to insert it through this first slip stitch right here. And then I'm going to pull it through this end. Does that make sense? Basically, it looks like a seamless stitch. So with my long tail, I'm going to start surface stitching. But what I like to start off with is I like to take pull it through and out like this. Right, then wherever I'm going to move my, like if I want to travel up in this direction, I'm going to just insert my hook back inside, and then I'm going to grab the yarn and pull it out like this. Right. So if, again, I'm just gonna like punch it in, grab the yarn and pull it out like this. And as you can see, it's forming a stitch on the surface. Ta-da! So I'm just gonna keep kind of punching it wherever I want the yarn to travel. This might not be the best in-depth tutorial, so if you need more practice on this, I would recommend just seeing more videos about how to do it properly, but this is how I do it. I'm stopping right when it reaches round 2. So right here. So I'm gonna pull it out like this, right? So that's where it ends. Then I'm just gonna pull it back behind, so it's a clean line, as you can see. So with my tapestry needle, I'm just making it a seamless transition, so doing my best to hide it. I'm almost going to like weave in and out of the line that I already made. Right, because the green is showing in there anyways. Right there. Okay. And then from this point, now you can work in either direction that you want, but these points, these 5 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're spaced out about 6 stitches from each other. So I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At around 7, I'm gonna punch inside. I'm gonna grab my green yarn out again. And then I'm going to do what I did for the first one. I'm just gonna keep punching my yarn so that it follows the general direction of going inside to the center. And then once I reach the end, where round 2 kind of stops, I'm gonna pull it out. I'm going to hook it back around. And same process that I just did, I'm going to sew along the back side of it to hide it, then go around here until I reach maybe 7 stitches this way, and then keep embroidering down, and I should have 5 points. This is how it should look like, just making sure that everything is evenly spaced. And then for that final one, I just weaved it in like how I showed you before, and after that, it should be pretty secure, especially if you're working with acrylic yarn. If you like it simply like this, I feel like this is already pretty Sogeking Usopp inspired. But if you wanted to take it a step further, I made a slingshot design right around here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off kind of towards where the second row ends and meets the third row, so right here in this line. And my slingshot is going to start from here, and it's like this would be the circular part, and then this right here would kind of be, like if I were to make a hole, this is where it would kind of end. I'm gonna start a little bit below that line to make the more circular part of it. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna slip stitch like right across. And I'm almost making like a spiral pattern. So I'm gonna start up here and then I'm going to go into, like I'm gonna go upwards. And then I'm gonna go down. Out and down. This, I'm almost making a U shape, if that makes sense. A little hack for me is that I like to punch like in the middle of the double crochets, so right in the middle, because if I punch inside of the gaps, then they might not always be grabbing in the right places. And now I'm just going to work my way up. So if I'm looking at it the right side, what I did is that I started from this corner and I worked upwards, up, then I started trickling down into a U, and then I'm going to continue that same thing. So I'll go up here when I reach this top where row 2 meets row 3 in this corner, then I'm just going to finish off by going like kind of curving downwards a little bit. It's always a little bit of a process, a bit of a guess and check when I'm doing this method, because it might not always be perfect. So when you get the shape that you want, again, I'm going to leave a long tail, just like how I did for the sides. So I'm going to bring it to the other side by just sticking it here. And then I want to bring it into the middle so we can make the handle of the slingshot. So again, same method like I did before to hide it back. I'm going to weave back and forth along the marks that we've already made. Okay, till we get right at about middle. Now I'm going to stick my hook right inside the middle, and I'm going to surface stitch just the very short handle all the way to the end. Like that. I'm gonna pull it out again, and then I'm going to sew it back in like this. And now it's time to hide all of your loose ends. Once you weave in your ends, this is all there is to it. Now we have Zoro's. If I were to think of Zoro as a shape, I think he would be a square. In my brain, I don't know, I feel like with him being a swordsman and being very grounded in his own values, I felt like a simple pattern might have been best for him. Again, this green right here, this mossy type of green, I used my scrap yarn. The moss green, like if you know, you know. I didn't have that green anymore, so in the tutorial I used this type of green. I think they're both fine. This part right here is supposed to represent his 3 earrings. Out of all 3 of these projects, I think Zoro's is the most beginner friendly. Now that we've made our square, we're gonna slip stitch a border for a clean edge. Just to start in any corner and attach your yarn. And then chain 1. And in each stitch, I'm just gonna do a slip stitch. Make sure to keep your slip stitches pretty loose because they're not gonna be as stretchy, and you still wanna have the shape of the square. Now I'm at the border of this, making sure that my side is still pretty loose, so it's not stretching too inward. And I'm gonna slip stitch along this corner now, and I'm just gonna continue all the way around the square. Now that I slip stitched all the way, I'm fastening off. And with the yarn, I'm gonna join it by pulling it through this V over here. So with my hook, I'm gonna go through the V. I'm gonna pull the yarn through. It's a little hard to see with the black. And then I'm gonna bring my yarn up in this V over here. Up here. And pull the yarn through there. When you pull it tight, when you pull it tight, you get a seamless border. And I'm gonna weave in my ends. We're gonna do just a little bit of surface stitching, and I'm just gonna make 3 lines over here to represent Zoro's 3 earrings. I poke the hook through, so this is the front side, but I poke it and then I grab yarn from the back and I bring it up like this. Just a small loop like that. Also make sure you have a pretty long tail that you can weave in more easily. Then I'm going to punch again where I want the stitch to keep moving in the direction. I'm going to grab the yarn and I'm going to pull up. And then up through right here. And again, poke it, grab the yarn and pull it out like this. And his earrings, I'm just gonna make them into a straight line like this. And I think this length is pretty good. I'm actually gonna cut it pretty long. Just a really long tail that I could surface stitch in. I'm gonna pull it out. This to end the stitch. And then I'm actually going to pull it back inside towards the back, like this. So that's one end. For the other earring, to kind of save time, I'm just gonna grab it from here. Or actually, I'm gonna grab it here, right here. I'm just gonna grab that long tail that we were already working on, and I'm just gonna go in the opposite direction now. So this way. That. So I pull it out, and then I'm gonna grab it back inside to end it. And then I'm gonna make one more on this side. So let's see, I'll probably grab it right here. Just poke it through. Okay, pull it out. And pull it back in. It looks like kind of like a Z almost. That's kind of cool. But from here, just weave in the ends. I also saw someone say that adding scars on Zoro would be really cool. So I don't think I'm gonna keep it, especially in this yellow. But something like this, where you would make a diagonal line. And then kind of make scars like this would be pretty cool. I kind of like that. And then, well, obviously I think maybe a black would be better for the scars. I'm not sure. But now that all of the ends are clean, this is what Zoro's coaster should look like. And that was all for my tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. As I said before, there's going to be multiple parts, so I would love if you let me know which ones you're excited to see next. Hope to see you in the upcoming parts.